Hello everyone, welcome to, oh my hair's a mess, Primal Preppers. Okay, Primal Preppers, as you may or may not know from watching videos of mine in the past, is all about prepping from basics, prepping from the beginning. So taking that on board, I went out and I decided I'm going to buy a dehumidifier, a dehydrator, okay, to put in my excess fruit, my meats, my things, dehydrate them, get the water out of them, make them last longer. Okay, now I know some of you might be thinking, well, that's not a very basic thing to do, but it is, because I'm starting with the basic, cheapest one I could find. I went onto Amazon. The first one what it suggested for me was about 55, 56 quid, but then down as you scroll through the Amazon thing, it gives you suggested purchases and what other people purchased while looking at this order and things. And I eventually got it down to about a £36 one. And we are unboxing it today. So here we go. This is it. It's just got your standard plug on. It is a bog standard basic one. I'll get the big box out of the way. And I will take the polystyrene off it. I believe it is a 5-layer or maybe 6-layer thing. We literally come with a lid, a multiple of trays to put your whatever you're dehydrating in. It does come with an instruction book, and I will be honest with you, I have already opened this, mainly to get the instruction book out to see what I had to do and get it to all up and running. So I'll just take the trays out of the way. You don't want to see all of those trays because they're all basically the same. And this is the actual base unit itself. Okay, it's there's the dial on the front. It's got a temperature thing. You just keep it on for however long it has to be left on for. There is a guideline. It is a guideline in the instruction manuals. Okay, on it's not everything. God, could you imagine how thick this would be? It's just a little thing in here. But could you imagine how thick it would be if it had absolutely everything you might imagine ever putting in your dehydrator and dehydrating it? But just a quick show you there. You get a list of things like broccoli, vegetables, carrots, potatoes. You also have one for fruits as well. And it just gives you a list of how they should be appearing once they have been dehydrated, and how long it takes to keep your dehydrator on. What I will do once I start using this is, because I still got to clean it or wash it or make sure it's got no foreign bodies on it in any way, shape or form, which come from the manufacturers and the packing house and everything else. I will take a quick photo of, or take a note of my power supply, my what's it called, I don't know, my meter, that's what it's called, my meter of when I started using it. And I will take a note of it when I finish using it for I don't know, a 24-hour period. I think the first thing I'm doing is plums, and it suggests that you do plums for about 24 hours. Not that it was in that book, I actually had to go and Google that. I believe it said something along the lines of about, I don't know, I can't remember, but I will let you know on the temperatures it has to be set at as well when I actually get round to putting the plums in. You don't need to know about it now, we're just doing the unboxing bit now. So yeah, so I'll be on for about a 24-hour period, so I will find out exactly how much energy it uses, or nearly exactly how much energy it uses over that 24-hour period, because luckily for me, I recently received a big wad of paperwork off my electricity company, and it admittedly is what they guess I use, because I don't have any smart meter or anything like that. So I'm on an estimated bill. I really have to phone them up and tell them the actual exact numbers, because then they can reevaluate my bills and everything. And who knows, maybe I'll get some money back. In fact, I probably will, because I know I'm actually under their estimated number. But they've given me the estimated energy use over the last 6 months in a form of statements. I did not ask for this. This is just something they decided to send out to me, probably to show me that I'm possibly in with a chance of actually saving some money for a couple of months on not paying for the electric because I've overpaid. But hey ho, it is what it is. So yeah, so I'll be able to work out what my average use is per month, and then I can break that down into a day and work out exactly how much, or very nearly exactly how much, this actually uses on top of my daily usage. Okay, all that being said, I'm now going to end this part of the video here, and I'm going to go and wash all this up and clean it and make it good and ready to use. And then the next time you will see me, I will be preparing the plums. The plums that I got for this particular video is from my friend's garden down the road. They have a Victorian plum tree. It produces masses of plums, and they were quite happy to part with a bag of plums for me, because, well, they can't get through them all themselves. And you will find you have numerous things like this around your town, village, or city you live in. These people have these things in their garden. Some people don't even do anything with them. They just drop off every year, rot on the floor, get turned into wildlife feed, which is good for the wildlife, not so good for you because you're not gaining from it. So part of prepping is all about making a community as well. I have a few people who will be willingly saying, yes, Simon, can you dehydrate this, that, and the other for me? Put it into some bags, make it a long life, stable, shelf stable food for later on. So that's part of my little community. But go and find out about your community around you. You might have people out there making honey. You might have people out there who've got fruit trees and they can't get through all the fruit. A good giveaway is just walk around with your eyes open during the fruiting season. See the plums hanging off trees, over people's fences, over people's walls, and just get the courage to knock on the door and say, "Do you mind if I have some of your plums?" It is that simple. You never know. You might meet the person of your dreams from doing this, or you might meet some grumpy old person who tells you to jog on in stronger terms. It is what it is. It is life. But that is the whole point of prepping. Build the community around you, because when the shit hits the fan, because it will one day, it might not be as major as us preppers make out it to be. It might be a minor one. Yeah. Well, you might have a knock on your door and you might go, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You gave me all those plums for the last 5 years. Yeah, come in. I've got some hot water here. We'll have a brew and we'll do this, that, and the other," because maybe they weren't as prepared as you were. Okay. But obviously, don't just let any random stranger in. You just let one person in and they find out you've got a crap load of food. Then tomorrow you have like 5 people there because they've gone and told everyone else who has no food. "Oh yeah, I know a place. They gave me some soup yesterday. Oh, we'll all go there today. They've got loads." Yeah, that load suddenly becomes very little when you're starting to try to feed the whole community. But if you have got a community, you can all group together with your supplies, and then you can start formulating how to actually supply the rest of the community who have not prepared as well as you. Okay, well, I catch you all in a little bit once I've washed this up, once I get in the plums and things ready, and we will go on to the next stage of using my dehumidifier. Well, here we go. We are back. I don't know how to do this because it's like, well, I want to say welcome back. So welcome back to my messy kitchen. I think this might be the first time you've seen my messy kitchen, but hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, you might see a lot more of it as we go on. Okay, so I pretty much have done most of them. As you can see, I've washed all the trays, I've washed the dehumidifier, give it all a good clean, just make sure there's nothing on there which was coming in from the factory or anything like that. I've washed all my fruit and I have discarded all the really bad ones because some of them were a little bit past their best. But I've left a couple here just to show you how and what I'm doing with them. I'm just literally halving them. This is my first time I've ever done anything like this. So I'm just literally halving them. That's what I found out. Had to Google it and it said half them, quarter them, chunk them, slice them. Up to you really how you do it. So I've removed the stalks. Well, apart from this one stalk, I've still got a stalk on there. So we just literally remove the stalk. That's all we have to do. You might have noticed I haven't got just Victoria plums on here. I've also got some green gauges because I have found, I've been living in my apartment for 3 to 4 years now, and it's the first time I've noticed I actually have a green gauge tree in one of the hedgerows, and it might be just the first time it's actually fruited enough for me to notice. So there you go. just literally sliced the plum in half. I just gave it a little twist to get the stone out, pit out, whatever you want to call it. You can see just there was a little stubborn bit of flesh what was holding on to it. Now, obviously, be careful if you are young, inexperienced with sharp implements, knives, kitchen knives, and the like. Do be careful at this point, because for some of them, you have to cut round the stone to get the other half out, because this one's quite a ripe one. And, well, I say ripe, it's not overly ripe. It's just right, actually. And the flesh sticks to the stone a little bit more than others. Some of them were coming out beautifully. Yeah, absolutely no flesh left on that stone whatsoever. Okay, so we'll just pop them in there. Ideally, you don't want them touching. You don't want them to touch the sides. You don't want them to touch each other, because you need to get the air right round them all. Okay, I left a good one. That was the nice one. I also have this nasty looking one, which looks like it's gone past its best. On this one, all I'm going to do is exactly the same. I'm going to cut it through the centre, chop it round. This may have even had some sort of worm or maggot, bug, whatever you want to call it in it. And it's not until you open it up and you can see what it really looks like, what the damage. In fact, fantastic. There you go. Look, we still have it. There you go. See? Had a little maggot in. Now, I don't know what that does to your fruit, so I'm going to throw that one out. Okay? Simple as. It might make it bitter, it might leave some sort of aftertaste, and it might, well, who knows, it might leave some sort of toxin. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I'm learning it all as we go. Okay, so I'll just get my cloth and wipe that knife just in case. So, green gauges, exactly the same, but obviously they're a little bit smaller. They have a little bit less flesh on them. Okay, but they also have smaller stones. Exactly the same process, just give it a little spin. That's going on my green gauge tray. I've got a second tray for that. Okay. I'm so glad that one had a maggot in, because these are just naturally grown plums. These aren't plums I bought from a shop. They haven't been treated with pesticides or anything like that. And considering that was the only maggot I found out of all the plums I'd done, and I've done enough to do a tray, it would have been enough to do a whole tray. I'm missing one little space, which is that bad plum basically, but yeah, there we go. So the green gauges, this is a nasty looking green gauge, but I think that is just really just skin damage to it. Okay, possibly where it's been rubbing against another branch or leaf or something, because inside that is all looking lovely. Okay, so that's the prepping of the fruit done for this drying experience we are going through. This dehydration process we're going to go through. Okay, last one. Glad I didn't just cut my finger off on the last one. That would have been really interesting. As I said, do be careful with the knife. Okay, your knives, your kitchen knives should be sharp enough to cut you if they're cutting through fruit, veg, potatoes, meat, etc. Now, I'm only doing 2 trays. Ideally, I would like to have had all my trays filled with fruit for this particular project, because obviously it's going to use the same amount of energy no matter what. So, yeah. So we've got the second tray on. There's my green gauges. There's my plums. Job's a good one. Put the lid on top of that as well. Okay, so what the recipe I found on YouTube, no, Google told me, was this should be set for you Americans at 140 Fahrenheit, 145, 140, 145, which is somewhere in the region of about 60, I believe. I haven't done the maths on it properly. I also found another one that was in English. Okay, so I'm going to set that at 60. It's already plugged in. It's all ready to go. What I'm going to do, which is probably going to be for a future video, is keep some of these stones and pits, or whatever you call them, and see if I can actually grow some trees out of them. Because, well, you're going to have to learn to do stuff like that as well. Because, well, one day the supermarkets might not be there. You might not have the convenience of just popping down the road to get your fruit and veg. So you have to learn how to grow all this stuff yourself, which also brings me on to the fact that I will go out in the garden later and you will be watching my video I'm going to be making of doing a late season plant of seeds. I planted radishes, lettuces, all sorts of other yummy scrummy things which may or may not come out by the end of the season. It depends on when I get my first frost and things. I might get a bumper and we might have an Indian summer. I might get a good crop from it. Point is, my first crop desperately failed. I think mainly because the cats used my bed as a toilet and kicked all my seeds everywhere else and kind of wrecked it. But I did get potatoes off it, and I will leave a link for that particular video in this description for this video, and you can go and see that. I might even put one of those little boxes up where you can click it while you're watching and go straight to that video, if I can work out how to do all that technical stuff. Okay then. Before I put this on, I'm just going to put you on pause for a minute, and I'm going to take a note of what my electric is at just about now. Right, okay, that is done. Doesn't look like it's changed at all for you, but it was a couple, well, maybe a minute or so. So, moment of truth, it's all plugged in. Turn it on. Turn it on, he says. There you go, little lights come on. You can hear the fan now going. Now this has to sit for somewhere in the region of about 6 to 36 hours now, doing its thing. Okay. Laws of averages will say, well, that will be about 24 hours. But obviously, some of my plums are quite big. Maybe I should have quartered them, would get the time down. The smaller they are, the quicker they're going to dry. The more flesh is exposed to the air blowing around in there, the quicker they're going to dry. So there are some techniques like popping, flattening them out and popping out the flesh, so it gets dried quicker. Okay. Obviously, I'm now going to turn the video off, let this do its thing. Come and check it every, I don't know, few hours, 3 to 4 hours, just to make sure it's doing its thing. You don't want to overdo it, I suppose. I'm assuming the green gauges will probably go a bit quicker than the plums. So you might see me come in, check it if I remember to do the video, and take the green gauges out. But I will do a video at the end so you can see what the end result is as well. Well, okay, they've all been done. I think all of them. It made it sound like I'm doing hundreds and hundreds of tons worth of them. I'm not. But yeah, they're done. These are the green gauge. I think these might have got a little bit overdone. They're still a little bit soft, I suppose is the right way of saying it. They're meant to be sort of, what's the right word? Flexible, where these are a little bit breaking. So I think they got overdone a little bit. If they're still squidgy, then they still need some more dehydration. And these are the plums. Now these ones are a little bit better because these are flexible. Yep, see, nice and flexible. And they're not squidgy at all. So the plums were about right. The green gauges probably could have done with a little bit less time in there. All in all, it took 20 hours to do. So that's good. That's better than the 36 that the recipe was saying it might need to take. And now all I'm going to do is stick them in a jar. So I got some of these lovely clinker jars. I'm not sponsored by Clinker and I'm not advertising them either, but I got them. So the reason we're putting them in a jar, and I'm obviously not making it like airtight, and I'm not putting any oxygen absorbers in it as yet, mainly because I haven't got them yet, they haven't arrived, is because if they are still a little bit underdone, if they are still moist and need more time, there should be some moisture appearing in this jar once it all goes in there, and that will show me if I need to dehydrate it a little bit longer. I'm going to put them all in the same jar because, well, at the end of the day, they're all plums, and that's a big jar for a little amount of plums. As and when I want to give these to people, which I will give, I'll give some to the supplier of the plums. I can just take them out and give them to them. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so we'll put them in there. And that should, if there's any moisture left in those plums, all mist up on the inside, as moisture does on a cold glass. It condensates, and that is that. Now, I'm probably, I might just actually turn you around and look at me. I'll just put you on pause for a second. So there you go. Excuse the hair, haven't done anything with it this morning. But all in all, as I said, that took about 20 hours to do them. If you were doing all green gauges, probably maybe about 18 hours. And I said I'll work out the average energy use because my energy company very kindly supplied me with a wadload of paper telling me how much I've been using over the last few months, because they want me to do a meter reading. Okay, so the average amount I use for electricity for a day is 3.3 kilowatts, if I've done my maths right. And what I used extra over those 20 hours was an additional 4.7. So it's like doubled my average usage to use that for 20 hours. But if you were doing a whole stack of 5, it kind of weighs out, because you'd still, if you had five layers of those plums, it would still be taken at around 20 hours. So there you go. Obviously, I'm not giving you prices for how long that 20 hours clocks up as, because we're all on different prices. You might be watching in America, you might be on dollars, not pounds. So, and then you'll be doing conversions and all sorts of things that go, oh, well, that's expensive, but you might be on a cheaper rate. I don't know. Obviously, you might have like a cheaper nighttime rate. I think we call it economy 7 over here. And if you do that during the nighttime rate, you're going to get a cheaper rate for it. But anyway, I've now finished doing that. I've got my seeds to do. That's another future video for me. I'm going to sort of look into growing them, different methods. Obviously, I'm going to go for the tried and tested Simon method, which is just shove it in the ground and see what happens. But I might do some more professional methods of doing it, which might make, I don't know, cracking open the outer shell, let moisture into the nut inside. I've never grown a plum before. I don't know. I've also got my garden one I'm going to be doing in a bit. So you'll probably see that before this video, because I'm got to cut all this together and edit it. And I don't do that. It takes me forever. So that's why I don't normally do it. I just normally pause it. It's good enough most of the time. Anyway, until the next time, I'm using my dehumidifier. Yes, it is a dehumidifier. I have thought maybe I can actually dehumidify my tobacco leaves in there instead of hanging them in my wardrobe or my airing cupboard. And it might make it happen a bit quicker and give me more of a controlled finish, which is something to look into as well. Maybe you will get a video of that one day. Until the next time, you all be good out there. And remember, if you can think it, it can happen.